Poppycock in your face.
Welcome to ASP Stuff Radio, the internet radio show filled with a whole bunch of fun stuff like how Iceland officially kicked England's shameful butt out of the EU, regretters regretting their Brexit, and how pig humans may someday think like a human pig. Today is Tuesday, June 28th. I'm your host, Aristalbert. Joining me is Socrateven and Platow.
Our names have changed.
They always change. It's this weird chimera hybrid between our names and the Greek figures.
You're a chimera. Your names are chimeras. Chimeras. We'll explain.
Although Paulito's new name sounded like a towel.
Platow. Platow. There you go. Platow.
Okay. Yeah, we're back. It's been a couple weeks, and
2 weeks too long for our audience. They've been waiting desperately for a new episode.
Because Paulito's been on assignment.
On assignment lately.
Yeah, to an undisclosed location.
Yeah, I had to go. Well, we could. I had to visit.
Near a war zone.
I was in the war zone area, Florida.
A lot of alligators there, right?
A lot of alligators and Latinos.
Yeah.
Latino.
You have to dodge bullets.
No dodging bullets.
You didn't go to Disney World, right?
No, didn't go to Disney World. I didn't get eaten by a crocodile or alligator. Okay. I read the conspiracy, by the way, that event never really occurred. It was just a decoy to get people off the topic of the Orlando shooting.
Interesting. Another conspiracy. Yeah. Every current event has a current conspiracy.
So, yeah, that's interesting because they killed the alligators, right?
Yeah. They were on a rampage.
Find the alligators.
They grabbed like 4 or 5 crocodiles. Was it alligator or crocodile?
Alligators.
Crocolager. Crocodile. They were searching for the boy, so they went in the lake and pulled out 3 or 4 and just sliced them open, trying to look for the boy.
Sliced open.
Killed them.
Every alligator they could find. They just started slicing them open.
Yeah.
No, wrong one. Slice that one over there.
Get another one. Yeah, all for a little boy.
Can't find him.
And this was at the Grand Floridian Beach,
where we were.
I thought you could swim in there.
I don't even know if there were signs that said that you couldn't.
I think there's jet skis, right?
Or boats.
So, I mean, the Indonesian listeners don't know what happened, but...
So what happened?
So, I don't know. From what I heard, there was a kid playing... It was late at night, playing on the beach of that... It's not really a beach, but it's...
Like a man-made beach?
Fake beach, that man-made water area outside the Grand Floridian Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents... they saw their kid playing out there. Nothing looked harmful. And then next minute, they saw their kid being attacked by an alligator. And he was taken down and drowned.
Oh, and their father tried to rescue his son. He went after the alligator, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You try to wrestle the alligator?
And then I don't think he wrestled the alligator, but it probably scared him off. Along with the boy.
Booga booga.
Along with the boy.
It's Steve Irwin's cousin.
Yeah.
Crocodile hunter.
Yeah, we don't want to make too much comedy out. It's something very tragic and
presumably that it happened. We're assuming that it happened.
Okay, well, I'll have to look it up in the intranet.
How come there's no video footage? We don't.
Did you look all over?
There were no witnesses.
Did Disney stock drop after this happened?
Didn't check. I didn't see.
Because I would think Disney would have a lot of power and not make sure that this wasn't the option chosen to distract people from the shooting. They're like, go for the Universal Studios disaster.
Yeah.
Well, did they really say that it was a Disney resort? I mean, do they really publicize that? I mean, because you hear Grand Floridian, you don't really think that's technically or necessarily associated with Disney World, right?
So the headline was just alligator attacks kid
in Florida, in Orlando.
Florida.
Right. So they're not saying it's
Orlando Hotel.
in Disney World. I mean, I didn't even really get that. I even forgot Grand Floridian was associated with Disney World.
No, that's a common resort. That's a popular resort, one of the most attractive ones.
We almost got mugged at that particular resort.
Oh, yeah, we stayed there, by the way.
We were throwing soap bars at gangstas.
Yeah, we were provoking some gangstas and playing around with the elevators.
The elevator buttons.
Yeah.
Some Latino gangstas.
Yeah.
And they were searching for us.
They probably had guns. They were packing.
Back in the day.
Went to the rooftop. Can see us.
We were playing with fire.
Yeah.
Young Felices.
Little did we know the real world, how violent and dangerous it is.
Mm-hmm. With crocodiles in the sea.
Alligators.
Or alligators.
And gorillas.
Yeah. And lions. And whales.
I saw an internet meme. You guys know what a meme is? With a gorilla. The gorilla was saying, "Now you know damn well you should shoot that alligator."
Gudmundur Benediktsson, the sports radio commentator for Iceland.
Okay.
What happened there?
Yeah. Did you hear about him losing his voice in wild excitement over Iceland's victory against England?
No.
The soccer game?
But the UEFA's been exciting. There's been a lot of controversy there too.
So let's listen to the clip where Iceland beats England. Was this Monday night, I guess?
Whoa.
Imagine John Miller going nuts.
Wow. So they're serious.
Yeah.
Over there.
I guess he got fired after that.
What?
Yeah.
It's soccer, though. That's what they're supposed to do.
I guess he exclaimed, he said, "England can go out of Europe. You can go wherever the hell you want."
Oh, I guess we didn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah, so you have to translate what he said.
Jeez. So he is real excited to rub it in their face.
Yeah. I thought it was a perfect timing with the Brexit.
That's the thing. Is this whole Euro Cup's been going on, and then Great Britain decides to leave the EU, and then they lose.
And they lose
to Iceland.
I think it's a
and they've
conspiracy.
been exited by Iceland.
It's a conspiracy. See, everything's a conspiracy.
So what is the conspiracy with the Grexit?
The Grexit,
or that was the Grexit was when Greece, I guess, left the EU. But Britain leaving is the Brexit.
The Brexit. So the Brits leaving the EU. I guess we're going to segue into our topic of...
Unless there's more of that broadcaster. Let's just play that.
No, that was
an hour.
I just wanted to share
did
that.
his lung come out of his mouth?
I'm surprised he even had a voice after that. When I scream at a concert for 10 minutes and I can't even talk.
Well, they're in broadcasting, so they're used to yelling and screaming, especially
pipes.
Him. Yeah, strong pipes.
Titanium windpipes.
So, what is the EU?
Good question.
Because apparently voters who were for Britain or the United Kingdom leaving the European Union didn't even know what the EU was.
I think the EU represents being part of Europe.
Being part of Europe. But what exactly does the EU do?
And the EU probably also represents a currency, a common currency between, is it 28 nations, now 27?
Now 27, yeah.
28. So the EU is an economic and political partnership involving 28 European countries. Began after World War II to foster economic cooperation with the idea that countries which trade together are more likely to avoid going to war with each other.
Very informative, Paul Leto.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
It has its own currency, the euro,
Okay.
which is used by 19 of the member countries.
But you know what? You are now a more well-informed person of the populace than all of those voters on the Brexit.
Mm-hmm. I bet you also that people didn't know that the Brits already had their own currency. It's called the pound.
Pound. Okay.
So I don't see how this would be such a big deal if they already have their own currency. They were not part of the euro currency.
So they didn't have a euro.
They didn't have a euro, so it shouldn't be too much of a mess to untangle, at least with respect to finances and currency.
Right.
Well, but that's not represented by the what is it? Historic drop, 1 day drop in their market.
Well, that's because of the panic and uncertainty and speculation by the media. They paint a negative picture about the United Kingdom exiting. Why couldn't they paint a positive picture? But they decided to go the negative, dystopian, negative scenario.
I agree. It was a complete painting of a picture that this is just the end of the world.
Absolute pandemonium.
But
Right.
represented by
Mass
that audio
panic.
clip. Mass panic. Go ahead and hit it again. There. Okay, so that is mass panic.
Pandemonium.
From the Brexit.
Yeah. And when you create such scenarios, that's going to create
I can't tell if he's happy or going mad.
going all of the above.
Depressed.
Being attacked by an alligator.
Now, when you create pandemonium and panic, obviously that's going to make voters feel regret. Like, oh, maybe I didn't do the right thing. Oh, shit, the market went down 600 points.
Plus, I kind of want to point out now, aren't most of these trades kind of automated or, we know that from all these large markets and corporations, most of that is all automated, right? All controlled. There's not really a human element. Like if
there's institutional investors, big corporations put in large orders.
Okay.
So they anticipate events, people voting for and against the outcome. Well, in this case, they were voting. I don't know what the odds were for Brexit, but
so there's definitely a human component.
There's a human element. There are predictions being made, and if they exited the EU, then they'll trigger a trade. They'll place an order for 1 million shares to sell certain stocks or sectors. Or it would just be investors calling their broker to execute sell orders.
Okay.
Because most people trade short term, day traders. So they want to make money off of news. Okay.
Most of these institutions and corporations, you're saying, or most?
The market is driven by short-term day traders in general.
Yeah, but larger investors, which are represented by these institutions and corporations, I would say most of the public, they're not going to have a huge influence on the market, right? Most of, like me and you, if we make one dinky little trade, that's not going to do anything.
So why did this cause the stock market all over the world to crash?
Uncertainty causes the market to crash.
Uncertainty
about what?
Economic.
Like England was dissolving.
About what the EU is.
Well, no. Or what do you mean? About what the EU is?
Well, maybe about what the Brexit means.
Well, people are uncertain about the economy, of the UK. People are worried that the trade negotiations won't be the same anymore. Anti-immigration laws, how that's going to affect the economy. No one knows. Uncertainty.
Well, how it's going to affect
trade in particular is gonna be a big
jobs.
thing.
Why does it happen like immediately?
Well, that's just pure speculation. Now, the media just wants to paint this negative scenario, like the worst case scenario, what could happen if the UK leaves the EU.
And understand that the underlying value of or stock price of a company, that's a representation of what the it represents what the future of that company is going to be. Also, so the future valuation of that company is inherent within that stock price. So if we kind of cut off part of that, the future of that company, if it's uncertain, then people they stop believing that the future of that company is going to be any good. So then they want to sell it off, right?
Right.
They're uncertain about it. So as you have these mass sell-offs, then supply demand, the price is naturally going to go down. So as soon as they found out, they started panicking. I don't know if
that drives down the currency, the pound. That went down as well, and then the dollar went up. That would make it expensive for foreigners to purchase products. I think exports. So
travelers, right? Travelers going into visiting, or U.S. travelers visiting the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So the dollar is stronger for them, so they can purchase more for their dollar.
No,
So it's a good thing for the U.S. dollar.
for the U.S. dollar, yeah, but not.
So then why
quite.
did the market here crash?
The economy here in the U.S. throughout the world, we have a global economy. All these countries are globally intertwined. So whatever business that the corporations here are kind of depending on with the UK or even all parts of Europe, right? Since it's the EU being impacted directly, it becomes uncertain. So that's a large market base, Europe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
But okay, that's true. But at the same time, I don't see any need for panic because Britain's going to want to do good trade deals with the EU nonetheless. Because of what you said, everyone's integrated. There's no such thing as an island unto itself. You're interconnected with other countries. So if you want to trade with the EU or those countries that make up the EU, it's going to have to abide by most of its rules anyway, with a few modifications. So I don't see how.
That's us three wise folk kind of discussing, in a calm little, podcast show here, whereas you have the laymen that really are out there, and so they don't understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is now you have the whole prime minister stepping down and all his staff, so the government is all in flux, and we don't know how the new government is gonna come out of this.
I think another worry and uncertainty issue that comes into play here is that if the UK leaves the EU, then other countries are going to leave as well. Like, for example, Australia is wanting to declare independency. They want to become a republic.
Are they part of the EU? They're nowhere.
Well, not
Austria?
not just countries. Was it Austria or Australia? I think it was Australia, but not even just countries in the EU. Just countries in general are going to want to claim different trade negotiations with the EU.
Okay,
but in particular the EU. So countries that are part of the EU are going to want to leave. There was this crazy speculation that Texas. I don't know if you guys heard about that. I sent you the link, Stephen. Texas wants to become independent of the United States.
I didn't read that link, but
so you're already hearing talks about countries wanting to, or states in the United States wanting to be independent of the
secede from the Union.
So speculation, uncertainty, fear, and no one knows what's going to go on.
But then there's the Trumpeter factor, and which means that a lot of the people that voted for the Brexit. Were the UK version of a redneck, and they thought that a big wall would be built around all of the UK to keep all of those do-gooders out of the country.
So there's that as well. So people are wondering, if so many experts were saying it's a bad thing for the UK to leave the European Union, then why did they leave? Well, there's what is known as UKIP, the United Kingdom of the Independent Party. And the leader of that group, his name is Nigel Farage. People are saying that he's a racist, he's a bigot, and the reason why he wanted to leave is because he didn't want any non-British or non-whites to be part of their country. So is that what you're referring to? Like the trumpeter, the people?
Well, I think it's a lot of these
British
mighty whiteys that just they think that we're having too much. They think that the UK is having too many immigrants infest their country.
Yeah,
and again, consider that the UK is a United Kingdom, so there's a bunch of different, what do you call them, kingdoms? I don't know what they're called, fiefdoms, or within the UK, like. What is it? Scotland. Scotland really wanted to stay in the EU, but they were outnumbered by the English majority who wanted to get out. Right.
Yeah.
So even within the UK, it was pretty much 50-50, I think, the vote. I don't know.
52-48.
Now, a lot of Brits seem to have a history of dislike against the EU and the officials. Especially that guy, Nigel Farage. So here's a clip from 2010 where he says some pretty nasty things to the EU president. I think his name is Herman Van Rompuy.
You have the charisma of a damp rag and the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk. And the question that I want to ask, that we're all going to ask is, who are you? I'd never heard of you. Nobody in Europe had ever heard of you. I would like to ask you, President, who voted for you? And what mechanism? Oh, I know democracy is not popular with you lot. And what mechanism do the peoples of Europe have to remove you? Is this European democracy? Well, I sense, though, that you're competent and capable and dangerous. And I have no doubt that it's your intention to be the quiet assassin of European democracy and of the European nation states. You appear to have a loathing for the very concept of the existence of nation states. Perhaps that's because you come from Belgium, which of course is pretty much a non-country. But since you took over, we've seen Greece reduced to nothing more than a protectorate. Sir, you have no legitimacy in this job at all, and I can say with confidence that I can speak on behalf of the majority of the British people in saying, we don't know you, we don't want you, and the sooner you're put out to grass, the better.
The better.
Ouch. So already this 2010, there are telltale signs that the United Kingdom didn't want any part of the EU. And I guess they even tried in 1973. They've tried to become part of the Union, but they were rejected several times. So there was already animosity between the EU and the UK. So again,
so it didn't just happen overnight,
right? Exactly. So I mean, I don't see why this is such a big.
Shouldn't have been mass panic.
No,
shouldn't have been expected.
No, nothing like that.
That was expected.
Yeah. So. And again, they have their own currency. There was already animosity and dislike amongst UK and EU officials. And anyways, when you think about Europe, you don't think United Kingdom. I don't know. Do you? I just consider them separate, independent.
They're their own kingdom.
Yeah.
Like with kings and queens and princesses.
I mean, but you do have to realize they're one of the strongest nations in Europe, at least historically. And to lose England, that's a big deal. Without England, let's say you have a World War III, and it's, the EU gets taken over by some new German dictator. Who's going to save them? because pretty much was England that, teaming up with the U.S., but for the longest time, England was the only country that was able to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
So they were probably the most powerful nation, especially after World War II.
Yeah, but you said this is an arrangement that was set up after World War II, right?
Right.
To establish peace.
So they still had each other's back somewhat, right?
Well, yeah, because they were working to rebuild Europe at that time. That was the whole point of it, was to rebuild Europe, strengthen it.
So maybe that's the panic then. If it's the UK that leaves, and then Scotland and England fall apart, and then other countries,
and then you have like
World War III,
a dictator like Trump.
Yeah, someone's
like
gonna
Trump
arise
come in and
out of the
try to-
ashes.
try to rebirth the Axis power or something.
Here's a clip from the John Oliver show. This was
I thought the guy we just listened to was John Oliver. Pretty funny.
No, this is before the Brexit occurred. I think it was a week or several days before. He's against it. He didn't want them to leave. But this is explaining why he thinks the UK decided why they want to leave. It has to do with racism or anti-immigration.
And at this point, you may be wondering, if leaving is so universally seen as a bad idea, then who the f*** is in favour of it? Well, let me introduce you to one of the leading groups backing a Brexit, the UK Independence Party, also called UKIP. Their leader is Nigel Farage, that man you saw earlier at the Comedy Central roast of European Council President Herman Van Rompuy. UKIP is known for its hardline anti-immigration views, and some of its members have engaged in outright racism. Just look at Robert Blay, a UKIP candidate for Parliament who was suspended after a tabloid paper caught him saying this about a rival of Sri Lankan descent.
The family's only been here since the 70s. You're not British enough to be in our Parliament.
Whoa there. Just hold up. Not British enough to be in our Parliament.
And the guy he's referring to is Brown.
He's talking about a British citizen who was born in London and raised in Hampshire. How is that not British enough? Must he literally be a monocled badger named Reginald who lives in a shepherd's pie? Is that the bar of entry to him? And at the local level, UKIP has had councillors like this woman who served on a district council in Kent.
I have to watch my tongue because I can be very outspoken. And it goes against the grain. The only people I do have problems with are Negroes. And I don't know why.
Okay, let's agree it is now official. Not everything sounds smarter in a British accent. It's official now. It is absolutely 100% official. I know what you heard is horrifying, but at least we can all rest easy knowing that as she speaks, that shelf full of clowns is plotting to carry her away into the night forever. But even when UKIP candidates are caught making racist comments, Farage has sometimes stood by them. Look at Kerry Smith, who used a racial slur about Chinese people, a term that I'm not going to use because I'm not a parliamentary candidate for UKIP. But Nigel Farage did not exactly condemn him.
If you and your mates are going out for a Chinese, what do you say you're going for?
I honestly would not use the word chinky. Would you?
A lot of people would.
Would you?
No, but a lot of people would.
Yeah, a lot of people would. Racists, for example. Bigots, idiots, the intolerant. Who am I missing here? Oh yeah, UKIP voters, them as well. A lot of people would. Now, UKIP argued that a Brexit would enable the UK to significantly reduce immigration, preventing both EU citizens from taking British jobs and non-EU citizens from sneaking in to commit terror attacks. And they have not been subtle in their campaign, with toxic posters like this one showing lines of refugees and the headline "Breaking Point." It is hard for me to overstate to you how poisonous things have become in England. Just this week, MP Joe Cox was killed in the street, and the man charged for it gave his name in court as "Death to Traitors, Freedom for Britain."
So I think a lot of it has to do with Trumpism.
So is Donald Trump a member of this UKIP party?
Well, he kind of expressed interest, right, for his golf course or something.
Yeah, he was for it. Yeah, he was all for it. When he was in Scotland, I think.
Didn't he say something like, this doesn't affect me because I my golf course or whatever.
Well, it'll be good business for his golf course.
That's right.
Because it's cheap or something?
It'll be cheaper for Americans to go golfing there. But I think kind of one point also is that goes to show you who are the people that are voting in this referendum. I don't think everybody in the UK is just like it here in the US. Maybe 30% at most of the population is voting. How many went out to vote for this? So everybody that wanted to exit, those are the ones that went out to vote, right?
They say the turnout was actually 71.8%. With more than 30 million people voting. It was the highest turnout in a UK-wide vote since the 92 general election. But they say, I don't know how the population is in England, but the highest percentage of people who voted to leave were people who lived in West and East Midlands.
But that's 70% of registered voters, I'm assuming. Yeah, so, everybody that wanted to get to Brexit, they went and registered, and then they went and voted.
I wonder how many of them were supporters of UKIP or members of them.
Right. I mean, it could be.
But go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking, there's another thing with Bernie Sanders. You had a lot of millennials that they went and registered to vote, but then 10% of them actually either went to vote or just didn't know how to vote.
Or they didn't get their ballot like Albert.
Yeah, I didn't get my ballot.
Yeah, so you had basically you had a record number of registered voters, but only 10% of those people actually had a vote that counted. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why Bernie didn't win California. So I mean, I think you got to look at who's voting.
Mm-hmm. That's the demographics, the people who are voting. That I want to know about.
Yeah, and those old
how many KK members, how many races?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all racist and they all want to vote. They're all motivated and they all know how to vote.
But at the same time, the clip that you sent, I have one from CNN. Who this person expresses how a lot of people have regret. They feel that they made a mistake.
Regret.
Regret. Yes.
So let me play that clip.
Don't do the whole. You have a part of it?
It's a shorter version. Instead of the NPR, I found this one, kind of expressing the same idea.
Nasally.
Yeah, less nasally.
Good. How confident are you, based on what you wrote, that Americans will vote based on their knowledge and not their anger?
Sadly, I am rather pessimistic. If you look at the kinds of reasons why Americans cite their attraction to Donald Trump so far, it's mostly about the fact that he gives voice to their anger, to their feelings of being left behind by globalization, by other forces within the economy, by economic stagnation. It's not necessarily his policy positions per se that are attracting voters to his message. It's more the fact that he's sort of a way of saying, damn you establishment, we hate you elitists, you have left us in a terrible position and we want to shake things up.
Now, I also want to get to something else you wrote in your column. You said at least some Brits who voted to leave are already expressing regrets now that they realize what their ballots hath wrought. I do want to point out there's an online petition we've learned this morning for a second EU referendum that has reached more than 1 million signatures. We know that it's not going to make a difference necessarily. It's not going to change anything. But what do you think they're regretting specifically?
I think they're regretting the consequences of their vote. If you look at what happened to the pound yesterday, if you looked at what happened to global financial markets, to panic around the world as a result of this decision, of course they're having buyer's remorse. They're saying,
didn't we all know that was coming?
One would think. Certainly lots of economists and other experts warned that this would have dire consequences. But yet, the leaders of the Leave campaign said, well, down with the experts. There were actually one of the leaders of the campaign had basically said, of course there are no experts who agree with me, but Who cares? I think this country has had enough of expertise, has had enough of experts. So yes, there were a lot of people who were forecasting these consequences, but in a very perverse way because of this anti-establishment, anti-elitist, anti-intellectual attitude that has taken root around the world. People just brushed those forecasts aside and said, I don't care. Because they're against it, I'm for it.
Sure. So real quickly, maybe in one or two sentences, what would you like to say to the to the U.S. electorate as we head into our own election in November?
Elections have consequences. It may feel gratifying to vote for the protest candidate, but think about what they actually stand for. Think about what experts, economists and otherwise, political historians say about the policies that the two candidates are putting forward, and think about the consequences of those policies, which you will have to live with.
Yes, listen to me, the expert.
Yeah.
I'm a smart...
Anti-intellectuals. That wasn't condescending.
Oh, man.
So we're going to have Trumpret.
You're like...
Trumpret.
What?
Trumpret.
You're far away in a distant land.
Trumpret.
All right, trumpet.
Trexit. So this whole thing comes full circle and is just another way, a conspiracy maybe to try to get people to not vote for Trump.
Maybe. Yeah, there you go.
I wonder if G4S is behind this.
The clip brought up an interesting issue. Should the uninformed, uneducated, anti-intellectual, ill-advised public be allowed to vote for an issue that could have long-term negative consequences?
No.
I mean, should there be an IQ test before they vote? Is that what you're suggesting?
At least one of those alcohol tests.
If they're drunk,
don't vote.
A breathalyzer?
Because it seems that a lot of people didn't know what the EU was, or they clearly ignored expert opinions despite their...
People said that, I didn't realize my vote was going to count.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Some people.
But why would you even vote then if you didn't think it was going to count?
No, I don't know. They didn't take that breathal voter test. But then also the point that the nasally NPR article said is that some of the UKIP folk, they were backing out on their promises. They said, we don't quite have the funding for that, but maybe it might happen. I can't remember exactly.
Right, now I remember that part. So I think it was Nigel, he posted on a bus that they put out a lot of money. They donate a lot of money to the European Union. I think $3.5 million in euro or pounds. So that money, if they Brexit, then that money will go towards essential resources for the United Kingdom, whatever. I don't know.
Okay, then now I think he's back.
And then he backed out. He's like, I don't remember if I said that. And
I don't think I really said that.
So that
I misremembered that.
Yeah, I forgot. When did I say that? So I can understand remorse.
but here's the other thing. This would be the first time that a politician lied, really.
Yeah, a blatant lie.
Yeah. I mean, they don't.
But why would you trust a racist bigot like Nigel Farage? He went off of the EU president, calling him a damp towel or something. I don't know.
So what we notice is there's this trend of these UKIP folk and then Trump making these bold, brash promises just to get a vote, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't this what we do in grade school? I think a couple episodes back we mentioned, you promise free lunches for the year, and then find out we don't have funding for it.
Yeah, oops.
Yeah. Sorry, forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of that ties into this regret. I mean,
yeah. Oops.
But I guess we're not going to move to England.
Not anytime soon.
But at the same time,
ISIS probably won't attack there either.
Watch out!
Yeah, because they've exited. They're safe now.
They have their own.
Good
their own state.
It would be hard for terrorists to get into. the UK because there's a wall being built right now.
There's a wall.
And it's paid for by the EU.
Yeah, and we're gonna make those EU fools pay for it. Let's do a Brexit interlude music.
Bregs out of here.
Bregs out. Bregs out.
We got some loose ends from last week or 2 weeks ago about the Orlando shooting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did the truth come out?
The truth concerning when did the victims of the Orlando shooting die? So remember, there was the time frame between 2 a.m. and 5:13, I think, when Omar Mateen broke into the club around 2 a.m. A lot of witnesses were saying that he started shooting up the place at 2, okay, and then it ended at 5. But here's a clip from a YouTube channel called True News featuring Rick Wiles with co-hosts Doc Burkhart and Edward Saul. And so they're trying to figure out that question, when did the victims of the Orlando shooting die? Now, according to the FBI, the supposed Orlando shooter entered the club around 2 a.m. and began his killing spree. But then there's this former judge, his name is Andrew Napolitano, and you'll hear in the clip, he says that the FBI transcript contradicts eyewitness testimony. In other words, the shooting didn't take place until, I think, around 5 a.m., which means that most of the killings and the injuries were due to FBI's barging through, breaking in, and trying to shoot Omar Mateen. So he actually didn't shoot up anyone at 2 a.m. from 2 till 5, which I thought that was really interesting.
The records of the 911 emergency calls disappeared, not only in Orlando, but all of Florida and the southeastern United States for the hours of midnight to 3 a.m. And you have contacted St. Lucie County Sheriff's Department. They told you that the FBI seized the 911 calls and ordered the sheriff not to talk to anybody. You came up with something today that stunned me because you have an audio, well, you've got the video, of Judge Napolitano on Fox News on June 20th. So that was Monday after the shooting in Orlando, right? And Judge Napolitano said something on live television on the Fox News channel. And what he said should have been on the front page of every newspaper in the world. And I did not hear it until you played it for me a few minutes before we came into the studio. And I said, Edward, you've got to play this. This has got to get out. Judge Napolitano would not go on national television. The man is a former judge. He would not go on national television and make an outrageous statement that could not be backed up. Let's play the soundbite of Judge Napolitano on Fox News on June 20th, talking about the transcripts of the 911 calls from Orlando.
How many omissions were there? Were there one? Well, then it could explain that one-off scenario that they originally talked about.
It's impossible to tell.
This was not a one-off.
Right. These are in two parts. There's an actual transcript, and then there's a summary of the rest. Here's what's news in the summary. Nobody died until 5:13 in the morning when the SWAT team entered. Prior to that, no one had been killed. The 53 that were injured and the 49 that were murdered all met their fates at the time of and during the police entry into the building.
All right. Now, did you hear what he said there at the very end?
Wait a minute, Doc. He said nobody died before 5:13 a.m. and the people who were shot and wounded and those who were shot and killed died after the SWAT team entered the building at 5:13 a.m. That is not according to the official narrative. That's nothing close to what the people have been told. We were told that Omar Mateen burst into the Pulse nightclub with an AR-15 and began blasting people, that he herded people into the bathroom. He was shooting people. And Judge Napolitano, who read the transcript, said nobody was shot until 5:13 a.m. What in the world is going on?
So Judge Napolitano, he's citing the official report, the official FBI transcripts, which were released Monday. And, again, what he mentioned, the news there is that no one died in the official report until 5:03 to 5:13, the actual breach into the Pulse nightclub.
But what about the survivors who were talking about all the shooting that was taking place at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? People laid on the floor and bled to death.
We deserve to hear the 911 audio. The American people deserve to hear the 911 audio to discern fact from fiction.
There is a big stinking lie in this story. Somebody's lying, and it's not Judge Napolitano.
Well, it sounds like somebody
maybe
died.
that was the 911 call.
Yeah. So,
and I have the FBI transcript. I'll post it on ASP Stuff Radio, and you guys can download it and read it. And it confirms.
What does it say?
So Mateen did walk into the nightclub. There were some shots, but I don't think he shot at anyone, just to get everyone's attention. And then throughout the majority of the time, from 2 to 5, there were some. He was making some negotiations with the FBI. He was making some phone calls, making posts on Facebook, calling his girlfriend, holding everyone hostage. Not until maybe around 5, when the SWAT team arrived and they started shooting. People started dying.
Yeah, but again, I mean, the crazy man isn't gonna. He might not attack till he feels that threatened, right? I mean, you could spin this any way you want. I mean, what if SWAT team comes in and he's like, "Oh, shoot, now they're gonna get me. Now I might as well start killing people, right?" I mean,
okay,
I don't know.
Fair enough. But the media is telling us different things. They're telling us that he came in and started shooting everyone and killing everyone.
So he walked in. I guess he's alluding to that there's actors or something claiming that they're being shot at a certain time.
If Judge Napolitano is citing the transcript, the FBI transcripts stating that the killings didn't occur till 5, then how is that consistent with witnesses' testimony and what the media is telling us? So you have two different stories, two different narratives. What's going on? What's the truth?
So the conspiracy is that the shooting actually did take place at 2 a.m, but it really wasn't this guy. I forget his name.
Mm-hmm. Mateen,
Omar Mateen. It was really probably some federal agents
that did most of the killing.
The shooting, and then now they're saying, I guess, in a way to try to solidify that it was really this guy and nobody else was there, that for those 3 hours it was just him holding them hostage.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think they'd have a better chance of getting away with the conspiracy if they just said the guy just opened up fire in the transcript. I'm not sure why they try to make this other story.
No, and I thought an official report came out today, and they had said that there might have been some crossfire with the FBI that might have killed innocent bystanders.
Sure.
That's what the reports, the official. I don't know. Now I'm getting word that there's 2 different official reports. So weeks later after it happened, I guess
are there multiple official reports?
The edited version, the rough draft, the final draft.
Yeah, and then also there's then that doesn't line up with your conspiracy story about there being 4 shooters.
Yeah, there's
one bomb. All right, 3 shooters, 1 bomber, or something like that.
Well, those are the FBI agents.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they're already in there. Maybe they're negotiating.
They were already in there.
They were probably
at 2 a.m,
shouting and talking to him, trying to make negotiations, and then didn't work
Could
out.
be.
And maybe the FBI killed most of the people in there.
Holding the doors.
Holding doors down. Maybe the FBI didn't want the public to know that they were responsible for most of the deaths. And so they wanted to blame the lone wolf. I even heard crazier stories after doing more research that the entire Orlando shooting was a complete hoax. That
Nobody died.
Nobody died. It didn't exist. It was all staged by the media.
So where are the bodies? That's what we need to see.
I don't know.
Even the doctors were in on it, huh?
Everyone.
They got a lot of money.
I want to see video. I want to see footage, not cell phone videos. I want to see actual video cameras, security cameras showing the whole incident. Why can't the public
see some from overhead where they're bringing people back into the club?
Well, that was outside the club, and that video footage was showing how this was it was inconsistent. Why would you bring people who are injured towards the club?
So the FBI could shoot them again.
So I want to see actual real footage of this incident to know the truth.
We demand the truth.
Demand the truth.
Game time?
Game time.
Game time.
We're going to play a game, a modified version of Balderdash.
BS.
Balderdash.
In Britain?
Poppycock.
Poppycock. We're going to play a game of ASP Poppycock.
It's time to play a fun game of ASP Stuff Radio Poppycock. Poppycock in your face.
Why not play a game of Balderdash where we come up with a real world word that's a real word, but a silly sounding word that actually has a real meaning. But what are the rules of the game again? I forgot.
So you look up, or you have words from the Old English times or from different origins, and one person reads off the actual meaning, while the other two contestants, they make up a meaning.
Hence the poppycock part.
Poppycock.
And everybody, the two other people that are playing, have to guess what the real definition is.
Okay.
So, Albert, you'll be the official proctor.
All right.
For now.
I'm going to pick a word.
And then we text you our definitions?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to read your own. So you get to make up one, Albert, I guess?
Yeah. Make it more...
Yeah. Okay. Then you also read the real one, read mine, and read Paul. Or Polyatos.
Okay. Polyatos.
Polyato.
Albert, pick your word.
And it better not be regret.
Okay. All right. I just picked a random word. Okay. Ready?
Okay.
Acrocephalic.
Could you
acrocephalic?
Spell that?
ACROCEPHALIC. Acrocephalic.
Could you give us the
It is a noun.
origin?
It is a noun.
He doesn't have to do that.
We don't do that. This isn't the spelling bee.
That's not a spelling bee.
Yeah. I could have a robot pronounce it for you.
Yeah. Put the robot on.
Acrocephaly.
What?
Wait, I want to know So, which one do you want us to define?
Acrocephalic.
Acrocephalic. Okay. All right. So me and Paul and you, Albert, will make one up.
Okay.
I guess you have to write it in your notes or something.
Okay.
On your mark, get set, go write some poppycock.
Anyone need more time?
All right. I'm My definition has been submitted.
Mine has 2.
All right, so we have our definitions, our stipulated definitions.
Mm-hmm. And me and Paul are playing. Albert's just the proctor. Proctologist.
Okay. Definition 1. Acrocephalic. A person who suffers from an inflamed brain due to cat allergies. Okay. All right. All right. As acrocephalic, definition 2. A person who is skilled at acrobatic exercises, particularly those which require arm strength. Definition number 3. A person suffering from a pointed skull. Okay.
Short, sweet.
Yeah.
Short, yeah.
Definition number 4. A hardened material utilized in the finish of a tall building's ceiling support structure. So those are
That's a good one.
yeah, those are the definitions. And now it is your turn to guess.
So who goes first?
If we guess someone else's definition, they get a point.
That's
I think that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
And
then
if we get
you guess
the
the
right
real
one, you get 2 points or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Volunteers.
What was it? What was the second one?
A person who is skilled at acrobatic exercises, particularly those which require arm strength. That was
the fourth one.
A hardened material utilized in the finish of a tall building's ceiling support structure.
And the third one?
A person suffering from a pointed skull.
Do say the first one.
Okay, and the first one. A person who suffers from an inflamed brain due to cat allergies.
Why are there cats always on? Always got to talk about cats.
Sounds like someone who performs like acrocat.
Acrocat.
Now, did you?
That would have been a better one.
You pick that word because it has to do with
No,
cats?
I just.
This is a trick one.
Yeah. I'm gonna say number 3. That's the pointed head or something.
Okay, so number 3.
I say.
So Stephen picks
3 or no 4.
All right, Paul picks definition number 4, and obviously I don't pick anything.
Yeah, you're just the proctologist.
I'm just the proctologist. Okay, the correct definition of acrocephalic is definition number 3. A person suffering from a pointed skull.
Short, sweet, yeah.
It's usually the short, sweet ones. That's what I think.
Stephen wins, and then Paul picked Stephen's definition. The structure, tall building.
Hardened material.
Yeah.
See, I went the engineering architecture route.
Yeah, I should have known.
So then, so Stephen gets how many points? He picked the correct one.
3.
3 points. Yeah, there
3
you go.
points.
So keep
we
track.
Get 0.
Keep
And
track.
then I get to be proctologist next.
Okay, so there
But
you go.
who had the funniest definition?
Okay, we need to pick who had the funniest.
All right, there you go. The ASP Stuff radio twist. And who had the funniest one?
Definition 1.
Yeah, the acrocats.
Who did that? How many points do you get? Do you get negative points for that?
I get negative points for having
you
the
get a
fun-
point for that.
Oh, you
Point.
get a point.
All right, nice. 1 point for me. Nice.
And remember the new version of Balderdash, you can also do acronyms too. Remember, you had like the Guild of Gargantuan Buttocks or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you forgot about that.
You pick. So you have like an acronym ACI, and then you have to guess what it stands for.
Yeah, and then there's also one. There's like laws you can guess. What's like a weird law? Like it's illegal for ducks to walk past 9 o'clock.
Sports. We're going to talk about sports.
All right, so score update. What's the score update?
Oh.
5-4 Oakland.
Jeez, they came back.
I don't know. The A's have
scored 4. Jeez.
Yeah, they pick up their game when they play the Giants. They relax against everybody else, but when they play the Giants, they're like.
Well, same with the Phillies, man. They were competing every game this past weekend.
They wouldn't give up.
That Sunday game was. I didn't really listen to it or watch it, but I just found out it was just probably 4 different lead changes or something.
Yeah, that was because Cueto hit one of their players to try to get back at the Phillies for hitting 3 Giants.
Yeah, how come
woke him up?
How come the umpire didn't give one of the warning to the pitcher?
The Phillies? Because it was you can only give a warning if the other team retaliates.
But he hit 3 pitchers.
3 hit, yeah,
or 3 hitters.
It's one team that hits 3 hitters. It's just a wild pitcher. But if the other team hits somebody, now you have some controversy.
I would assume that if you hit at least 2 hitters, then a warning would be issued.
Not until both teams are involved. It's just this weird way. It didn't used to be like that.
Oh, they didn't have rules like that before?
Not really. The umpires let the teams just settle it, but now they're trying to protect players from getting hit and prevent brawls. So that's what they do.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my internet cut off.
Oh, no one cares what you have to say. Just kidding.
Brussels is in a real country. Or Belgium.
You're not a real country. By the way, if you're confused about what the EU is, think of ASP as the European Union, and then Steven being disconnected. He's Stexiting.
Stexited.
So it's AP.
Well, I came back in.
All right.
No, I'm not. I'm
so
not
you want back? You had a Stigret.
So we don't have any Palatos currency.
Palato currency. The ASP currency.
What's the ASP currency?
Buckazoids, like in Space Quest.
Buckazoids.
Anyways, going back to the Giants. So they played excellent baseball since last 2 weeks.
It was about a month and a half of going back to mid-May.
Oh wow,
pretty much.
Usually they have a June swoon too, but the past couple of years, every June was pretty bad, right?
Yeah,
they
last year
swept the Tampa Bay Rays, won the series against the Pirates,
which they never do.
Yeah,
and then didn't they score a lot of runs in the Brewer game? 15.
Yeah, they outmatched the Brewers. Brewers were like nothing. They just kind of went in there and didn't even know they existed.
Yeah.
But,
and the
Phillies put up a fight. Tampa Bay kind of put up a fight too.
Yeah, but
the Giants have to get good pitching, and I mean it's tough when these other teams hit. That's when they have a hard time winning. Like tonight, the A's look like they want to score a lot of runs.
Yeah, they seem to have a lot of energy, pent-up energy.
A lot of youth.
Yeah, very youthful. And then the Giants are rickety old men.
No, they have youth, but because of all the injuries.
Yeah, they're tired.
They're tired, that's what it is.
Yeah.
National League
stretched thin.
Shamart
panics out right now for one day, or who knows.
What
needs a couple days.
Duffy's out too.
Duffy's out.
Was he injured or I can't
Achilles?
Remember.
Right?
Achilles. Who's covering third? Was it Gillespie or
Gillespie?
Not Dizzy Gillespie of the Jazz Giant.
No, Gillespie. Yeah, he's playing third. Pena has been playing a lot of infield.
Oh yeah.
Pagan came back, which has helped.
Yeah, he actually is doing good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blanco plays a lot, and the kids, Parker and Williamson, they're not really kids, but they're getting a lot of playing time.
Yeah, and so they've been winning some games even without the main Giants in the lineup.
Yeah, as long as they can keep pitching. It's their bullpen that you worry about the most. If their bullpen struggles, that's when they struggle.
Yeah. I mean, lately it's sort of been starters kind of struggling, right? Cueto kind of.
And then there's the weird phenomenon of Bum. When he's pitching well, the Giants' bats
They don't hit.
They don't hit. And then Bum's like, come on, guys. And then they have to hit a home run.
Yeah, if the Giants lose Bumgarner starts, that's when they can start going down.
Yeah.
Like they have to win those starts.
But
Samardzija
kinda...
is a question mark, and then the other PV and Suarez, you just don't know.
But to me, that's a common thing, right? Like whenever you have your best starter out there, any team, like if they either mentally they slack off or something, or usually it's pitching against their best pitcher. So it's not really. I mean that's sort of expected. They're going to be competitive games, so you have to be. The whole staff has to be able to, and the lineup's got to be able to bail them out.
But their offense, I mean, they've been getting a lot more offense past couple weeks, considering Pence and everybody else has been hurt. So they've bailed out some of their starters lately.
Just can't bail out Bum. They haven't bailed out Bum the past couple.
And what's the deal with pitchers wanting to be part of the home run derby? What's that all about? Trying to break some rules?
Break some bones?
Break some bones and rules?
Yeah, I don't know.
Start with Bumgarner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Bum's probably wondering, can't these damn hitters hit when I'm pitching, so I'm going to have to do it myself.
I mean, I think there were a couple games where he actually had his own game-winning RBIs, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the home run derby is pretty boring now as it is, so if you throw some pitchers out there, it'll be more exciting. Yet there's still this argument that they want to put the DH in both leagues, but here they are wanting to watch pitchers hit home runs. Makes no sense.
Do you think they're going to do it? Allow for it?
I don't know. I think it's 50-50 right now. It seems like they really want to do it, but they know it's not smart.
Because they'll wear out the pitcher. And
yeah, you could expose them to injury.
Well, but Bumgarner takes batting practice seriously.
But I think Bochy's got his head screwed on. He's not going to let his emotion get the best of him.
Well, is it up to Bochy? Can Bochy nix that?
I would assume he has control over his team.
Yeah, it's up to the Giants. If Bumgarner gets invited, they can say no, or they control the player.
They own the players, right? Yeah.
Larry Bird.
So they're thinking, if you change the rules maybe a little bit, like you limit the time that they hit to like 2 minutes, then they would let him do it.
And
so
then
they
home
could
runs
do that.
Their home runs count as 2. Yeah.
Oh, so each player has a allotted amount of time to hit home runs?
They could. Okay. I mean, that's not how it is right now. But that's what Bochy was saying is if they maybe modify the rules, then they would be open to it. Home run derby is not set in stone, the rules. They change it every year now.
But is it exciting to watch or is it boring?
It's pretty boring. That's more reason to have the pitcher hit.
It's kind of exciting if a guy gets on a roll. I don't know, right? That's why the laymen watch baseball.
Yeah, I guess if you have someone but it's when you start seeing those players who just can't hit anything and they're just popping it up or they're taking a bunch of pitches, then it gets boring.
So how can we make the home run derby more interesting? If you throw an egg at them, like they hit an egg?
Well, I guess they'd have
every fourth ball is an egg.
Or a ball filled with confetti. Have a ball's filled with prizes. You hit the ball and it explodes and out comes...
Maybe a money ball or something?
They have a money ball, I think.
Maybe you can't say that on television. They get slimed.
Yeah, if you strike out, if you miss a ball, or if it goes foul, then they get slimed. That'll enthuse the crowd.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. That hurt my ears.
All right, so I promise next week we'll talk about pig humans. And human pigs.
And cats.
And cats.
Pig cats.
Pig cats playing
pig cats.
soccer.
We can genetically modify teams, chimeras.
Piats.
What's a piat?
The pig cat.
Pig cat, a horse, cow. Might create different baseball teams with genetically modified non-humans. Mythical creatures have their own baseball teams. That would be interesting. That would be fun to watch.
We're getting there. Right? We have the technology.
Yeah. Sheep-like goats, goat sheeps.
Chimeras, goat sheeps, piats. We'll have everything out there.
Since Duffy's hurt, you could have Skeeter playing third.
All right. Any last words of wisdom you'd like to bestow our audience with?
I got nothing.
Got nothing?
No, I think the Iceland broadcaster summed it up.
Yeah.
Let's play it. Let's hit that button again.
All right. Okay, so with all that ice in my head, that wild ice man screaming.
That might. If you listen to that enough, it's going to cause a concussion.
I think so.
I think that's. They need it. Like if Trump wins the presidency, they should have that guy announce.
Like he's like going like, oh, it's the end of the world. Yeah.
It sounds like he's being mauled by a bear.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's Leonardo in Remnant. Revenant.
Yeah. Remnant. We're mixing our words. All podcasts, this whole show has just been
the Remnant.
The Remnant. But yeah, that's how I would react if Trump was voted in.
So save that clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are all stuffed up.
This is ASP Stuff Radio, and we are all stuffed up.
We are the United Kingdom. You can eat our Sponadix. That being said, we're not going to leave you. Turns out we need you nonetheless. You, European Union. Poland is depressing, and there's vampires in Romania. Spain is far too hot, and where the is Lithuania? To be fair, Slovenia is lovely. We're only kidding. It's such